Hi, this is Ron Craig, KO4RON, with a quick little video about a display and case that I've been working on. I'll get that out of the way now. So this is the Eviciv 7-inch capacitive touch screen for Raspberry Pi. There's the box. So that's what it looks like, and I can put a link down in the description for that. That's fine. Touchscreen, IPS, 16 by 9. And it's intended really for, forgive the fact that I haven't taken the protective plastic off the screen there, but you know. It's really intended for Raspberry Pi, though you can connect any HDMI in. If you connect between this and your host computer, USB, the touch screen stuff will work. There's a 5-volt power input, and it's got some others as well. And so this is actually made with the Raspberry Pi in mind. So you can bolt in Raspberry Pi here. It's got 4 standoffs for that. It's also got a spot down here. It says Raspberry Pi 0. And that's supposed to come down here, but there's only 2 standoffs. And if you attach it in that direction, then all of these connectors are facing down here, and most of the peripherals that they send you some cables and things, some flat cables and so on, won't actually fit. So I realized that if I put it where it fits, it works much better. So I've actually got it on a standoff, that standoff, and there's a standoff underneath that I put Kaptan tape on so it doesn't short anything out. And then I made this little carriage here, which is orange in color, or red in color here, that hooks around the other standoff and gives me a place to hook that. And it also comes up here. There's a screw up there, and a screw under there, so you can screw this down well, and it lifts it off the board to miss that that other standoff there. And then this way the cables all match and will go in there correctly. Also, most people don't realize, it seems, and I see people doing a lot of strange things in order to get a push button to shut the Raspberry Pi down and bring it back up. And both the 0 and the Raspberry Pi 3 and 4 and so on have built in already code for watching that and handling that. If you go to /boot/overlays/readme, there's a file there that describes one of the overlays that comes out of the box. It's a DT overlay as GPIO shutdown. And so if you enable that, then and tell it which GPIO buttons you want to use, then if you ground that button, it will perform a safe shutdown. You don't need to write scripts, make services, install things that are going to run around and around in a circle looking for button pushes and stuff. It's all in the operating system already. But to use that, I added to my carriage here a little indentation where I could put a push button circuit board. So you power the Pi, and that's the power connector there. And then once it's you apply power, it comes up and boots up. If you press this button, it'll shut down, and it goes to a very, very low power state. Since you haven't disconnected the power, there's still some power there. In fact, just enough so that if you were to push this button again, it will boot up. So that's a power on off button. So that's nice. This display comes with buttons, power, menu, up, down, exit. They're on the back of the display. And so when you make a case for this, you have to have a way to press those buttons on the back, which is what I have done. So I've made this case. I'll show you. That's what it looks like. I do my prototypes in red because it's easier to see faults and things. so I haven't made a new bezel yet. But here's the display case, and since this mounts upside down in it, like that, and screws in, then I've got these fingers on the back over here to press those buttons. And down here where my power button, where I added that, I made one for that too. So that will power the Pi up and down, and the others, there's one for displaying the display power and menu and so on. I made several versions of this. One that takes 2 fans, and here are the fans. I found some really cheap fans on eBay. On Amazon. I'll put the links in the description. I've got one that's got a spot for 2 fans, one that's got a spot for 1 fan, a file for no fans, just depending on what you wanted to do. With the Raspberry Pi Zero, you don't really need fans. If you had a 4 in there, for example, then yeah, you might want to put a couple fans. And I've got them drawing air out. Air comes in these vents and then comes out through there. Might have to cover that with tape to get better airflow. Dunno. Haven't played around with it yet on that part. It's got, as I said, these connectors on the edge, and the case has got matching cutouts for that. But it turns out in my case here, I don't need those. I'm going to run power through that hole right there in the bottom, that hole right there, and it comes up and plugs into here. Everything else is on board. This connector here is for powering the board from your Raspberry Pi. If you wanted to, you could plug it into the GPIO pins, 2 for 5 volts and 1 for ground. But it turns out for these fans, I got 5-volt fans, so I made this little connector here with some DuPont connectors to match the fans' DuPont connectors, and I'll power the fans with that, and that works great. The HDMI, you can, if you don't want to go in from the side, you can use a little ribbon cable here. For this, of course, it's got to have an adapter because this is not a micro HDMI, but a mini HDMI. The USBs, however, are micro. So the 5-volt touch connector, it comes with, let's see, does it come with, no, it doesn't actually come with a cable for that, but I made a cable for it. And the 5 volts in, I won't need that at all since I'm coming in here, but you could also come in there. It's got speakers on the back. Again, it's capacitive touch, although if somebody knows how to get the capacitive touch to work with the Raspberry Pi Zero, let me know. I've got it connected, and when I boot it, the very first touch on the screen works. After that, nothing. It stops moving at all. Okay, so there's that, and again, I'll show a video in a little bit with it all assembled and put together and working and all that. I just wanted to get this shot in before I started doing all that work. It's very frustrating to see a finished product and not see the steps to get there. So anyhow, that's it. And again, I've got extra cases, so if anybody else has this exact same display and you find, as I did, that there are no, I couldn't find cases for it, let me know. For a few bucks, I can ship you one of the spares that I've made. That's it. Now this actually, there's another thing to mention. On the back here, I've got this mount is going to go on the back, probably in black, not in red. Screws to the back there. And then on my shelf up here, let me disconnect this. I've got a this mount that screws in to there. There's an arm that will go between the two of those. so I can move the display up and down. I might actually put 2 arms so that I can also move the display side to side. Don't know, probably don't actually need that where I'm actually mounting it. But this is all 3D printed stuff. This mount is on Thingiverse. I'll put the link at the bottom. The display case is remixed from something else for a different display. I changed all the dimensions and everything, and moved the buttons around to the back. Added this fan business and so on. I may make a little cap to go over this because in my case I'm not going to need it. It'll give me a little better airflow if I cap that. Till then I might just put some black electrical tape over it. That's it. If any of this is useful, just respond in the comments and try to get back to you. Thanks.